So welcome to December's Wine Club for Divine Vintage. And this month we're looking at sparkling wines. It's been quite a year, 2025. It started off in January with the Palisades Fires, and I know it affected a lot of our members. As we went through the year, there was also a bit of a focus on Pinot Noir. So if you can think back to July, we imported a pallet from New Zealand, and there was a white and a red wine made from Pinot Noir, the red grape. The next month we went into August and we looked at summer reds, and one was a Pinot Noir. It was Chacra's Barda, which is only 12% alcohol, from Patagonia in Argentina. In September we looked at the hierarchy of Burgundy, looking at a Chardonnay but also a Pinot Noir. So we thought we'd wrap up the year in 2025 and December, which is the festive time, and look at two sparkling wines, which is the ultimate expression of Pinot Noir. And they're also pink wines. So we thought it would be fun to show you two different wines which are really perfect for the holidays. So the first one we have is the Bird in Hand sparkling from the Adelaide Hills in Australia, and it's from 100% Pinot Noir. And that's made in something called the tank method, or the Charmat method. And then the second one we've got, which is the ultimate really for December, is the champagne. So it's Lanson's Brut Rosé Champagne. And the fun thing is this is the Wimbledon edition. I'll just tuck his little collar down there. So this is actually not just, it's not just decorative, it's also functional. We thought we'd also show you how to open wine. So sparkling wine it's very fun. If you've ever watched any like IndyCar drivers or Formula One drivers, they like to shake up the bottle and spray it everywhere, which is fun, but you do lose a lot of wine. So what I thought I'd do is I'll show you how to open a bottle. So we're going to start with this one, which is the Bird in Hand sparkling from Australia. So usually there's a little tag here. You can rip that and that'll take the foil all the way off, and you can take that off like that. The next thing we've got, you'll notice on the side, is this little screw. It's the key. There's always 6 turns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once you get to 6, put your thumb on it. You can open it a little bit like this, but really the key here is it could pop at any time. So if you hold it by the cork, we can even take that off, hold it by the cork, tilt it at a 45-degree angle. By putting it at a 45-degree angle, you increase the surface area, so it's less of a pressure point. Hold the cork, twist the bottle. So as you start to twist the bottle, you'll feel the cork come out. You'll see it's halfway out. So if I carry on, it's going to go at any minute. Now we could make a big pop and a big splash, but if you listen to this is just a slight little, and it's off. It's a little pa. So the pa is good because you've kept the wine inside, you've kept it bubbly. The next thing I want to show you is the type of glassware. Nowadays, most people are using just really typical white wine glasses or universal glass. Historically, you'd have the flute, which is fine, but the bubbles go up and you can't really smell it, so it's quite restricted. The other thing is the coupe, the cup, which is probably the worst glass you could have for sparkling wine because the bubbles go straight away. So when you pour it, I think the beautiful thing here is that lovely pink color. So we've got two different wines here with two different techniques. So this one is made in a big pressurized tank. So the thing with sparkling wine, it goes through 2 fermentations. The first fermentation, in this case Pinot Noir, they bring the grapes into the winery, they put them in a press and squeeze them, but they'll hold them in the press for maybe an hour or 2, just to get a little bit of color from the skins. And the skins of the Pinot Noir red grapes will stain the juice a little bit before they press it. The still wine goes into a big tank, and it will go through a fermentation. Normal fermentation, so once it's done, then the wine will be still, it'll be flat, and it'll probably only be around about 10% alcohol because they picked the grapes earlier, so there's less sugar in it, which is potential alcohol. Then the magic happens with the second fermentation. So this will happen in the same big pressurized tank. They'll call this the tank method or the Charmat method. This is also how they make wines like Prosecco that you might know. So the idea of this is to really retain all the fruit flavors. They'll add a little bit more yeast and a little bit more sugar and close the pressurized tank. That little bit of sugar will consume that little bit of yeast and create maybe another 1 or 2% alcohol. And one of the byproducts of fermentation is carbon dioxide or bubbles. So this will remain in the tank, trapped in there, until it's ready to be bottled. And they'll bottle it pretty quickly under pressure into a bottle, which is this bottle. The cork will go in and it's ready for market. So that's actually quite a quick, quite an easy, and it's a much more affordable way of producing sparkling wine. The alternative is champagne. So the beauty with champagne is what you've got in the bottle is where the second fermentation took place. Also known as the traditional method, or the champagne method, or method traditionnelle they call it, or method champenoise. There's a lot of names, but really it's all about fermenting the wine, the second fermentation, in the bottle. So much like the first method, you make a still base wine, and you'll make a white wine from that. But what's unique in champagne in the world is you're actually allowed to add some red wine, some still red wine, to the white juice or the white wine, and you'll create this rosé color. So no other place in the world allows this except for champagne. So even if you get like Provence rosé or rosés from around the world, you're not allowed to blend red and white grapes together. You can only get the color from the skins. This will go into the bottle. They'll put a little bit of yeast, a little bit of sugar, and they'll put a crown cap on top. So it's like a beer bottle top on top. It'll lie on its side in the cellar. And for a non-vintage, as this is, the minimum is 1 year and 3 months, 15 months. If it's a vintage champagne, so that means all the grapes come from the same year, there's a minimum of 3 years. In the case of this one, this was around about 4 years on the dead yeast. So the yeast will consume the sugar. As it converts it into alcohol, it creates bubbles, which are trapped in the bottle, and the yeast will die and form a sediment along the bottom of the bottle. This sediment stays there for this minimum amount of time, and it gives character to the wine. It's like a bready, a toasty, a yeast character. People talk about brioche. So this all happens here, and the sediment's alongside it. The tricky part is how do you get rid of it without losing the bubbles? So they came up with a system called riddling, where it'll go onto an A-frame wooden boards with holes in it, and the holes will allow the wine bottle to go from the horizontal right up to the vertical. But the key is doing it very slowly. So every day a rimmer or a riddler will come along and they'll turn the bottle quarter of a turn and up a little bit. They'll come back the next day, quarter of a turn the other way and up. So over about 3 weeks, the bottle's wriggling like this, and it'll get to a stage where all the sediment will form in the neck of the bottle. Problem then is how do you get rid of it? So there's like a freezing brine solution which you can pop the neck into, and it'll freeze. It'll freeze the sediment, the dead yeast, inside the bottleneck. So if you turn it up this way, you've got an ice plug. The ice plug is full of this ice and yeast and all the sediment there together. And the idea is you can do it originally by hand, but you can also do it by machine, where you can tap the crown cap and it'll shoot out the plug of sediment, and you've cleared the wine. They'll top it up a little bit, the cork goes in, and voila, you have champagne. So as you can see, that's a much more lengthy process, it's a much more expensive process, and that's why champagne costs a lot more than regular ones do. So that's how we make these wines. How do we enjoy them? Well, my recommendation is it's December. There's a lot of chances to do it. So even if you don't like pink bubbles, then how about gifting? How about turning up to a party? If you turn up to a party with a bottle of the bird in hand, it's really ideal. It's ultimate. If you turn up at a dinner, it might be a Christmas, it might be Hanukkah, it might be New Year's Eve. You turn up with a bottle of champagne and it's pink, nothing says festive more like pink bubbles. So that's the idea of this December. For the end of 2025, we're going to end on a bang with some bubbles, the pink bubbles. So enjoy those, gift them, share them with friends, give them to someone. One last thing on this champagne, this little cute polo shirt has a small tennis ball on the end because it's been the official wine at the Wimbledon Tennis Champs since 1977. That can open up, you can pull out the champagne, so there's the bottle. But the beauty with this thing is it keeps the wine cold for up to a couple of hours. So it's like a little thermos that'll keep it wrapped up, keep it fresh, and you can enjoy the bubbles nice and cold and celebrate whatever you're celebrating in December. So thanks for being part of the Divine Wine Club for 2025. We look forward to 2026 and a whole lot of new wines to discover. Cheers.